Okay, traders, welcome back to episode 16. So in this episode, I'm just going to touch on manipulations in the market and how they tie into fundamentals, and what is manipulation and how can you take advantage of knowing where potential manipulation may come into the market. So I'll just give you an obvious example. So if you see the dollar index right here, so when we look at price, you can see that high here, we go across, and what we see is all this area of price is holding. So this area here is not manipulation. I just want you to understand that. So 940. So that isn't manipulation. That is just price failing to close above. This candle, however, is manipulation, and I'll let you know why. So when you look at it on a 4-hour chart, you notice that more often than not, price will be failing to go through an area. As you can see, price was failing to go through an area. Then we see price, if you zoom in here, we see price go down. So initially price went up into here, the beginning of manipulation, but that's still inside what you would call an area that you can understand why price is rejecting from there. So let's just get very precise. So from that wick right there to that wick right there. So most traders now are saying to themselves, yeah, we're gonna put our stop loss somewhere above this area. So retail traders usually they're taught put our stop loss around, say, five. What do they usually say? About 5 to 10 pips past highs and lows, etc. So you can see here, price went 14 pips past the high, and then it straight away rejects and drops down. So what this is the market trying to take liquidity. So before a big move, you'll always notice price goes the opposite way, because it's hunting liquidity. It wants to take out all the stops where there's a cluster of retail stops, which you see, and then it drops and you see a massive expansion all the way down. So you see, for example, even here, anytime you see those massive wicks, you'll notice that's where the market pinned in. So here's perfect example. We've got a high here, we've got this nice supply zone right here, and you can see price, all it did was manipulate into the supply zone. Obviously I've been mentioning supply a few times throughout the video episodes, but I will give you guys an understanding of what supply and demand is. Let's see if we can find any other examples of manipulation that are just really good. So here, this manipulation ties in with FOMC. So at this point here, it was the Federal Reserve. So when there's any major news announcements, you need to understand that markets are always going to overreact, or like I said, get manipulated. So you can see on euro dollar right here, where is it? Right here, what happens? So we've got an area. Price has been failing to break through that area. So when you're seeing all the failures to move higher, what the retail traders do, they're gonna put their stop loss just above and look for shorts, because with this trade actually still got me as well. So that's me being honest. This trade still got me, because my trade idea, and as you guys know through these episodes, is that I'm looking at euro from this point of view. So I don't want to see price get above this high. But in news events, which is why I should have known better, in news events, price is likely to move a lot further than it usually does. So when you look at the characteristics of price, you're going to understand what I mean. So our fib is from here, A down to B. So what did we initially see? We saw previous support and resistance, like I always say to you guys right here. Previous support and resistance, I went short around this region here, 74. Initially, price was going fine. Then news came out, as you see, and what happens? Price shoots all the way, taking out. So my stop was above here, takes out everyone's stops by how much more? By, see, 35 pips. So mostly everyone probably got closed out, unless you're anticipating that because you've got this area to the left, more likely the market will want to manipulate. But then, like I said to you, I got back in here anyway after the manipulation was over. But that's another occasion of when you see markets manipulate. Just looking through so you can see any more. There's definitely one on like pound dollar. So let's have a look at pound dollar. So pound dollar, of course, the Brexit news is always prominent in the market, but even pound dollar, when you look at what pound dollar did leading up to Brexit, what do you see? Price is trending, so we are looking at we are going to break lower. So you see we've got this area here, so let's go down into our daily chart and just have a look at that price action. So again, Brexit, massive fundamentals. What does price do? So think about what I'm about to show you now in terms of manipulation. So we're going to say around here, so in that region, pounds going up. So at the time of when Brexit was being released, personally, I would have been looking at price like this. So you can see we shouldn't really take out this high. This is a lovely high probability area in here for pound shorts. That's a lovely area. What do we see? Price goes down, we get that rejection. You would be looking for shorts. What does happens? Price gaps up, continues to trade higher. So continues to trade higher, and then what happens? Because it's such a massive news, obviously Brexit, equal highs right here. So they're looking at this area here, and then what do? They manipulate price higher, and then look at the immediate reaction after that. Drops all the way down and have a little pause, drops all the way down. Look, price bottoms out, and even when now pound started to retrace or started to bottom out, what do you see? Again, another manipulation. We've got a clear low, price traded all the way above, came all the way back down, took the low out, and immediately reverses. So that's what you more often see. It comes back down to take out the low. The obviously degree of how far it manipulates price is always going to vary depending on what kind of news event ties in with it. Just like here, Tories got the majority of the parliament. What do you see happens? Price rallies. Oh, I'm not too sure about the fundamentals, but it's either conservative. I think it's conservative. Sorry, conservatives got the majority in the parliament, and then what do we see? Price rallies up just to do what? Just to retrace. So that's what price does. When you see these wicks to the bottom, it's just price liquidating. It's just the retail. It's just the market trying to take retail traders out of the trades. So you got an obvious area of support or resistance. Then you see price makes its most effort to just take it out and then retrace. That's where you're getting this idea of support and resistance. Even here, we've got this area here. What happens? Price just takes that area out and then does what? Immediately drops. But of course, we're trading bullish anyway, so we're looking at longs. But there was another example of manipulation of price. That's obviously a clear manipulation as well. So that's basically the essentials into what manipulation is. It's just trying to shake you out of your positions. Just like here on US dollar CAD, you'll see it again. We've got the high. What happens? The high was holding in here. Then we get that wick above just to take it all out, and then we see price crash straight after. So the manipulation always pins in the top. It always pins it in. You will see a massive move, just like oil. Let's think about oil. Some sort of fundamentals during, I think, an oil refinery got bombed or was a victim of a terrorist attack. Oil rallied up. How much is this? Oil rallied nearly 15% and immediately reversed and went lower than the catalyst which sent oil higher. So it's another form of manipulation. You see it here with UJ, has a low, pushes away, comes down, takes that low out, and then completely reverses. Just like here in UJ, we have a high, comes up, wicks the high, and it completely reverses. So you're going to see this on many occasions. There's many occasions where price just gets manipulated and then completely reverses. So even like here, we take out the high, price reverses. So there is ways that you can obviously profit from manipulation if you know what you're looking for. So if you know high probability areas or where you're potentially looking for price to be for potential manipulations in price, then you can not say predict it, but you can not let it get to you as much. So for example, here on US dollar Swiss franc, these are the manipulations that I can handle because they still are still within my trading perimeter. So you can already see here we had this initial rejection. So if we draw that across, price now traded nicely down. We got a push back up for some reason, started rejecting again. But what happens? We get that manipulation. That's fine because that manipulation didn't go all the way up here. If it did, obviously I would be out of the market and price may reverse again. Then I would look for that kind of dead cat bounce, and then I'd look for price to drop off again, like what we saw with a euro dollar. But again, those are just a few examples of manipulation. Just like here, you see we have a high, manipulates it. This recently got me as well with US dollar CAD. I mean, sorry, US dollar Swiss franc, because we've got this area here holding a strong resistance. We got above. My stop loss was above here because I was trading. I was trading it like, no, sorry, yeah, my stop loss was there initially, but my next high was here. So I was looking for price to show some sort of rejection from this region here. I did do what you shouldn't do, but it's because I was a bit more confident. But when I looked at the weekly chart, I realized that price doesn't really maintain above one. So I tried to beat the market. So this is why you have, if you're going to do it, you have to do it with conviction. So I put my stop loss, I think, just above here. It didn't really affect my trade, so to speak, because obviously I had a massive target. As you can see, my target did in fact get hit and then some. So my target was 0.975. I entered around 82.8. So I had a great risk to reward anyway, so I spared some more percentage. But then what happened is I didn't put my stop loss past the complete invalidation point. So when you look at that weekly, the previous manipulation took it up to 10276. Or to be completely honest, yeah, you had to have, let's go to that daily, sorry. You had to have your level above this region. So that's where I put my stop loss around this a high here. Tried to beat the market and it literally just caught me. Didn't take out that high, and you can see what happened. It absolutely melted. And even look at what it done. It melts where just past another low, takes it out, and then you're gonna see price push back up to at least 975. Yeah, 97756. So that's all you got. When you're talking about manipulation, it's hard to catch. It's not something that you can, unless you're anticipating it, it's not something that you can really profit from. You have to kind of get the retracement. You have to get, after the manipulation happens, you need to realize firstly that it was manipulation and your trade idea is still valid, and then you need to have the kind of heart to act on that. So act on understanding that it was just manipulation. For example, let's have a quick look at a pound CAD. So what you can see happen on pound CAD, we've got a lovely weekly fib. So initially we would be looking at our fib like this. So because of all that pound news that happened, what did you see? You saw price come right back up just to take out that high. Literally just to take that high out, and then you've seen the retracement drop all the way down. But the one that I got into is a pound Swiss franc, which many of you have seen. And the reason why I got into this is because I entered around here 93.5. So now you guys are getting it in like a private viewing of how I got into this trade, because no one really kind of knows. So for me, I'm waiting for pound Swiss franc to break this area here. I'm already up here. I closed out quite a majority of this trade. We also had a nice supply zone here, which, like I said, I'm going to make you guys understand. And then it's a lovely entry. It's a lovely entry. I'm up around nearly 500-600 pips right now, about 550. And potentially I'm looking to hold this all the way past here, because essentially I know price is more often than not going to want to take this low out. So I may be holding this trade for the whole of 2020, but price is going to want to go like that, and then we might see that retracement up, but that's a lot of pips. And if it does get all the way down there, that could be nearly, like I said, 2,000 pips would probably be the most amount of pips I've caught. So I don't really want you to get too hung up on manipulation, but just be aware of when there is news, understand that there is going to be manipulation, because that's what the market makers hide, their changing of positions. So when price manipulates, or like for example here, we pinned in this low, it rallied all the way back up, comes down just to take that level out to then go again. So manipulation can give away whether or not a market has topped out or bottomed out. So that's the key. That's the only positive I would say that comes with manipulation. As long as you can align it with the fundamentals, then you should be fine. But sometimes, of course, it's just going to get you. That's just how the market is. There's not much that you can do to avoid it. But just understand, still stick with your bias. If price doesn't trade and trend above that level, that's what you have to understand. If price doesn't, like with the euro dollar example, if we had a strong close, then I'd be happy to say I'm just going to turn it into a bullish trader now. But because we wick back up below, for me, I knew it was manipulation, and my original idea is still valid. So it's just about understanding again your conviction in your trade, and also what is the actual invalidation for your setup. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. In the next episode, I'm going to move into explaining supply and demand to you guys. So I do think that's going to be one to watch, especially the way that I utilize it. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.